You notice we haven't talked as much today about the protests in Chicago. I mean, they did put up some new fences. They put some new cameras in place after some of the protesters knocked down fencing yesterday. But the reason we haven't talked as much about the protests in Chicago is because what we're seeing in 2024 is not anything remotely close to what we saw in Chicago, say, back in 1968. Geraldo Rivera, NewsNation correspondent at large, also a big part of our coverage of this convention. It's good to have you here on set.
Who dates back to the 1960s and give you some perspective.
Exactly, if anyone's going to give us. But you were talking about this because everyone was making all these comparisons, say, oh, the president, President Johnson stepped away, and there was a war overseas, and there's all these kind of parallels to 68, but it's different.
It's different because the passion was much more personal. Why? Because there was the draft.
Right.
Very, very unpopular war, people getting chopped up in Vietnam and for a cause that they did not believe in, and everybody was eligible for the draft, at least initially. So it was much more personal. The emotion that we vented. I was arrested twice in D.C., and a lot of the emotion had to do with the fact that we were ourselves personally on the hook. I don't think, well, God bless these protesters. I admire people who get out there and peacefully make their points made.
Right.
But it's different. They care deeply, and it's particularly those of Arab or Palestinian descent specifically. But it doesn't have the same urgency or mass interest or involvement that it did back in those days.
Right. Everybody had a stake in it back then. Now, you were here all night last night. We all were, well after midnight. What'd you think? I mean, that was the one thing I was about to say to the guy, Kevin, from the Harris campaign, that they got Biden on really late. But overall, listening to Democrats today, they're saying this was a great night, night one for them. What did you think?
Well, I think that's spin on the part of the pros, because the first thing you've got to do when you're putting on a television program, and it ultimately is a television program, it's got to be well produced. When it's well produced, that means that when you have a star player, and what was the intent of day one? It was for President Biden to be, celebrated, and for him to kind of fade into the twilight. And so he needed his moment. They couldn't even run the film that they had produced about him because it ran so late. It was so sloppy. Everybody spoke too long. They killed James Taylor. They edited and tried to juggle, and still he didn't come on until the midnight hour on the East Coast. And I think that was a shame and a disservice to the program.
Right. The right thing to do would have been to have him in the prime hour, which for conventions is 10 to 11 p.m. Eastern time, so the major networks carry it. Now, the right thing to do. I wonder how upset they really are about it. I saw real quick before it came on some of the overnight ratings. They were very good in the 10 o'clock hour, higher than the Republicans had, something like 20% higher or something like that. And then when Biden came on, they were still pretty high, and they went down a little bit because it was getting so late, or for whatever reason. I wonder how upset they are. I wonder if they think he's really was the star performer, or they were fine with who was on at 10 o'clock.
I don't know about that. All I can tell you, though, Connell, is how disappointed I was in the tone of his speech. I thought that he was too shouty, too defensive. He didn't smile even one time. I admired and was affected in a very positive way when he was with Ashley, his daughter, and when Dr. Jill came on stage. The personal stuff I really enjoyed. Then it became kind of almost like he used his speech that he would have given had he been the nominee and just changed a couple of the adjectives. I didn't like it. It was
a weird spot, wasn't it? I mean, go back to 68. Johnson wasn't at that convention. He was the only one you'd compare him to, but he wasn't. We've never really seen a speech like this.
He seemed a melancholy figure to me.
What about Obama tonight? What do you think?
Well, he is the most popular Democrat. He or Michelle, at the very least, is the most popular Democrat in the country, and I think that it's key. His enthusiasm level, I think, will be sincere. I think that he will bring his very modern and fluid and eloquent voice to Kamala's campaign, to Kamala Harris's campaign. I think that he sincerely likes her, has for 20 years been her ally and vice versa, since he was a state senator and she was running for district attorney.
And a bunch of people have compared her to him.
And they have called exactly right. They called her the female Obama. I remember.
Thanks so much for watching. Just go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.